Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, Shir sponsor Lunishma Saim Yakashon Lab Basitzchok. We're holding in Metzia Daf Yudches. We're starting in Yudzayin with base in the second wide line. The Gemara just established, the Gemara told us that we should know that the Gemara brought a question: how does Almono Mina Erusin? How does a widow, the husband died when they were Russo before they had a chuppah? How does she get ksuva? Now, first of all, asks, how do you even know that Almana Mina Erusin gets ksuva? After the asking, Omerlei Markshisha Breda of Chizor Rashi. Zion base, second wide line. For Almana Mina Erusin, they used to ksuva minon. How does Almana Mina Erusin? How do you know the Almana Mina Erusin has ksuva? Even though he had the name, because it says in the Mishnah, is Armelo and is Gasho, Bein Mina Erusin, Bein Mina Nisuin. Woman became a widow, got divorced, doesn't matter from Erusin Nisuin, Goyve Sakol. She's Goyve everything. The entire ksuva. This is Goyve Sakol. So it says more the Kosovo. Maybe we're talking about a case that he wrote a ksuva. Doesn't have to write a ksuva. Usually we don't write ksuva till a chuppah. But maybe in this case it's different because he did write a ksuva. If you want to tell me, okay, so what's the chish? Says the Gemara, maybe because the Bava says, even if you write it, he didn't really mean to write it. Why does Orus write a ksuva to his wife? He writes a ksuva because he wants to marry her. But if now he's getting married, he's not going to write a ksuva. So therefore, that's what you have to tell me. Even though he wrote it, it does work. It doesn't say goyve ksuva. It says goyve sakoil. Everything. What's everything? Mash, we're talking about not only the monim assigned, the 100 and 200, the regular ksuva has, even something he added to it. You want to tell me that he's goyva is he wrote for her. She's goyva monim assigned plus akoil. He didn't write it. Saying what my goyva sakoil. Why is she getting everything? She have 100 and 200. Remember, just to remind ourselves that a Besula gets married, gets the takana of ksuva, she gets a ksuva of 200. And if Almona gets married, gets 100. That's the minimum amount. You can't do less than that. So now you have, if you don't have write a ksuva, why should you have more? So Mor says you can't bring a raya from there that there's a ksuva by Almana. Could be the reason the ksuva by Almana over there is because he wrote to a ksuva. If you don't write a ksuva, there's no raya. In the second line. It says, said, a wife, he cannot become tamid. A kohen has an isser to get tamid lemes. But to the 7 relatives, what's the 7 relatives? Always father and mother, brother, sister, son, daughter, and a spouse. So the 7 relatives, a kohen can become tamid. Not only he become tamid, has a mitzvah to become tamid, take care of it. So even though a kohen should not be tamid, he's allowed to be tamid to a wife. What happens if the wife is only a russo? She's not a full wife, she just got engaged. So he's not going to be tamid. She also cannot become tamid. Now, what does it mean can't become tamid? As Rashi points out right away. She's a woman. She's a kohenes. A kohenes has no issue to become tamid. So what does it mean she doesn't have to become tamid? So it means, says Rashi, she doesn't have to be tamid. Usually for kohenim you have a chiyuv to be tamid. Here you don't have to be tamid. That's what says the Rashi here. Rashi in Yevamah says there is a case that a woman has an issur to mitamid. When is that? Not at the kohenis, but when she's oil regel. When the people oil regel, they come to be samidish for the chag, they're not supposed to become tamid. So then I would say maybe she has. So that we're saying, but if she has a kohen, she does. Her husband only engaged, she does become tamid. Mesu, if she dies, ain't no yosh, she's not going to inherit her. Mesu, if he died, go yiv ksuva. Oh, ksuva, even though she's a russo. You see that Arusa has a ksuva. Says more dealing with the cost of law. Again, maybe he wrote her a ksuva. The cost of law, what's the chiddush? One could have said that blazer, they don't say like a blazer. One says Meisoi and Yosher. It's a real beginning to the other concept to tell me that Meisoi and Yosher, if she dies, he doesn't inherit her. And to tell me that Yerusha doesn't start till later. Says the Gemara, Elo Abaye Migufo de Masnisin Kahader Bey. Says the Gemara, when we said, again, why are you bringing this whole case? The Gemara brought earlier, the Gemara said that when a person brings, Kol Maise Bezdin, you don't look, which means what? Whatever we have from Bezdin is considered to be like a strong thing that nobody can say Parua. As if he has a star, it's as if we know this chiyuv is there. Any Maise Bezdin, what's Maise Bezdin? Ksuva. So said Abaye, more brought a raya. It says in the Mishnah, Hoitzia get veini mo ksuva. That's what it says in that Mishnah. Bring out a get, and the get doesn't have a ksuva, she's great ksuva. So you see, why you great ksuva? So I don't agree. You read a ksuva, because Maise Bezdin, you can't claim against Maise Bezdin. So said Abaye on there, that's not good. Maybe we talk about a case, ain't because ksuva. So then I have no other choice. I always gonna go with a get. But if you have a ksuva, you could say parua. That's what the Gemara asks. So the Gemara, no, but what about Almonim and Erusin? So right now says there's no proof that Almonim and Erusin against a ksuva. So Anicham, you need to have a ksuva. If you don't have a ksuva, it's a problem. So Abaye, the reason he changed his mind is because of something else. We talk about in the case of Gemara Mishnah Ksuvas that says that a woman who see a get, she takes out a get, she can take a ksuva. And you wanted to say, we talk about a case that you don't run a ksuva. To get an ksuva, so to get this ksuva, that's why you take out Monim Masayim. How to get Monim Masayim Ksibei? Look at the get. In the get, does it say anything about a ksuva? About the obligation of the husband to the wife? Because Rabbanon are Mesaken, that she needs to get a ksuva. Kiman the Kosibodami. It's as if it's written in there. Likton Belemu should say back, Parati. It's okay, but I pay it back. If you pay it back, you'll say, oh, I'll tell you why. Because I need to go and tear the get. If the get is used as a ksuva, if we talk about, again, the case. The case is a place you don't write a ksuva. So you don't write a ksuva, what's happening? The Isha comes to Bezdin. Says, I got divorced. I don't know you got divorced. Here's my get. I deserve a ksuva. What do you mean to bring a ksuva? We don't write ksuvas in this location. So okay, so tear the ksuva. So the Gemara, he's not going to allow me. He can't tear my ksuva. If you tear my ksuva, I'm not going to be able to get married. He can't tear my get. Sorry, he can't tear my get. If you want to tear my get, you can't get married. I have a get. I have a document that says divorce. So okay, now let's tear it. I can't tear it. Maybe you should tear it. Right behind it. This get the karuna that you tore it. Because they get puzzled. Nor for her not to extract it another time. To call the magbe beidinu magbe. Does every time a person comes and takes a ksuva and uses it at the get, she goes to Bezdin, the Bezdin are allowed to do it. When you go to Bezdin, bring Bezdin, so Bezdin can come and find a signature on the get, say the get is still kosher. Now, not by Bezdin, you have nobody to do that. So what is saying Abaye? Saying Abaye, what do you see from here? You see from here the kolatoy nachar ma'aseh Bezdin lo yom klum. What does it mean kolatoy nachar ma'aseh lo yom klum? When Bezdin come and say, when you have a din that you chai mitzad Bezdin, for example, you have a ksuva, you say parua doesn't work. Parua doesn't work. What should he ask back? He has to require. That's what we mentioned yesterday in Shabbos Daf. The man about the Malay Roim. The Malay Roim says, 1 second, I don't have shtocha b'yodi my boy. Right? Usually, when you don't pay, when someone has to owes money, comes the lender and says, I have a shtar. But here we're talking about there's no shtar, no ksuva. If you have a ma'aseh bezdin, it's as if she's holding on to the shtar. And the only way for the husband to get out of it is either to have witnesses or to have a shoiver. Shoiver is a receipt. Ask for a receipt. Bring a receipt that you said that you paid her back. That's the raya. Says the Rabbi. We wanted to bring a raya that Toinachar Ma'aseh Bezdin, someone who claims on Ma'aseh Bezdin, something that Bezdin Michayim in Perua, that you can't say a thing. Says about it's more about a raya because it says it's a get ve'ein imur ksuva. It brings a get without a ksuva. So grave ksuva also. You grave the ksuva. So said Abaye, maybe we talk about a case in a location that you don't write ksuvas, right? You don't write ksuvas, and therefore And that's the reason of Torah Basic. Regular Basic, maybe not. That's what Baya said. And now Baya comes back and say no. If that's the case, if that's that's the case, why can he write say a parat? In this case, by get. Why? What are you going to want him to do? To tear the get? You can't tear the get. To tear and put a stempel with Beis Din? I don't know if you have Beis Din over here. So just say parati. Elamai, you see from here, there's a rule. Whenever you have a Torah Beis Din, then you have no time against it. That's what Abai goes back to say. Yeah. So we got here to the Mishnah. So that's the Skota of the Gemara. Gemara brings a raya for the Abai. Abai says, you do have a raya, Torah Beis Din Lo Maklum, so is times against Beis Din Lo Maklum. By the way, just to mention that this is the Shem Shmuel brings when we speak on the Shul Machshava, that Torah Beis Din Lo Maklum is whenever Beis Din said something, you can't come and go against it. It's over. You want to go against it, you have to show that something happened. But if not, it's finished. Says the Shem Shmuel, that's why Kodesh Baruch Hu in the Brio, someone says, that didn't happen. When he wants to give something to Am Yisrael, he gives it right away. So then you can't come, the Sitra can't come and say, oh, let's change it. Once it was given, you can't come and change it. Okay, so the Mishnah. So a person goes, he finds in the street, a get of a Isha, or Shichur Avodim, a document that releases a slave. The Yatke, we're going to see in the Gemara, the Yatke means what a person writes on his deathbed. Matono b'shavrim, a gift or a receipt. Harei lo yachzer, you don't return it. The person wrote it, but he then decided not to give it. The fact that you find it doesn't mean that it actually was given. In all these cases, you don't know if it was given or not. Says the Gemara, just because we don't know if the one who wrote the star, did he give it in the end or not? We don't know. Why? But if the guy says, no, I gave it. No discussion. Nice thing. Right? The only reason you don't give it, because who knows, maybe the one who wrote it didn't actually give it in the end. But if he did give it in the end, if he says I gave it, you trust it. Even though there will be a long time. Brings a Gwar. Now this mamish, the whole sugi we have over here is a quote. It's again the same sugi we had in Mesechus Gittin. How maybe get Rav Dimenu. We learned in Mesechus Gittin. Person brings a get from the Asayam. The get gets lost. Motzul out there. If he finds it right away, kosher. I said with the Asayam, it's not a meduyuk. Person brings a get. Let's leave it for now. And he finds right away, kosher. Ila, possible. If he doesn't find it right away, it's possible. If you don't find it right away, it's possible. Why not? Because you maybe fell for somebody else, as I was going to say in a moment. So l'chura, you see that only if I find it immediately, I give it back. Not if it was a very long time between the time it fell and the time that you found it. Well, it depends. In a place that there's many people passing by, many caravans passing by, so you maybe they get fell for somebody else. But if it's a place that nobody passes by, you found that even after a long time, I assume it came from this person. Even when we talk about that there is a lot of caravans, it's only as long as I know that there's two people with the same name. Then I assume probably it fell from the same person. You don't say like that. Kash the Rabba, I have a question, Rabba. There was a get that was found in the Beis Din of Uno. Now the Kosu Bay, they're written there, Bishvire Mato Darachis Dar, it's the name of a city. Shviri is the name of a city. Mato Darachis Dar, which is right next to the river. And then the board said, what happened with here? Omar Avuna said, with David Chesed Beis, Chayshinon Lishnei Shviri. Maybe there's two cities with the same name. Go check, go be be'ayin in the sugya. In the evening, everyone's going to ask you, Give me a source to this. No, like Rashi went, he learned well, and found that not called Meisim Beis Din Yanis Rabbis. Anything in Meisim Beis Din, you have to give it back. So you have your raya, you give it back. So the Chur have a raya against that what Huna says that you chayish teishveri. Says the Gemara, this Beis Din, I mean, that's a place where many people pass by. You say you give it back? So you just told me a rule. Whenever I have a place where many people are around, I don't give back again that was found. And now we say clearly that in place of Rav Huna, where the place where many people pass by, you do give it back. So what do you have to say? Only if you have chazaka use with Shimon, yes, if not. So what is the Gemara saying in this stage of the Gemara? We're saying like this. If you it fell in the street and you find it right away, so then you give it back if the owner, if the husband says, really, I was planning to send it. You give it back. If it's a place, if it was found later, it was found after time. So if it's a place that there's no shayars, mitzuyas, and not many people pass by, you give it back. If it's a place that shayars, mitzuyas, but you don't have two people with the same name, you give it back. But if it's a place, you have to have these three conditions come back. You're talking about that it took a long time to find it. Second, there's shayars, mitzuyas, there's a lot of people that pass by. And there's chazaka, there's two people with the same name, then you don't give it back, because you chayish the star fell from another Yeshiva and Shimon. Says Rabba did this the same halacha they just passed now in the place of cotton, of Povadiso and Shmaitzer. What does it mean? It explains two explanations. There was the marketplace where they sell cotton, sell linen, and a reason why I gave it back, because, and we're talking about they gave it back, and the reason they gave it back because we didn't have two people with the same name. Even though you're in the marketplace where many people pass by. Some say, talk about the factory where they weave the linen. Even though there's two people with the same name, they don't have many shares passing by. So you don't have all the conditions met. It was a place where they weave it. So it's not a place with many people. So even though you have the same people, even though it was a long time, you give it back. Rav Zeiro, Rami Maslitzin, Abrais from Mishai. Rav Zeiro brought a steer between the Mishnah and the Bryce, so he has an answer. Now, maybe because what's allowed the kosher, we learn the get in, then the person brought a get and it fell, and he found right away kosher. You find a Kedisha in the market. If the husband agrees that this get should be given back, give it back to the Isha. And if the husband disagrees, says this is not a get, or whatever the reason is, you don't give it back. You give it back to Isha. You give it back, there's no conditions, no limitations. You give it back even if it's a long time. So similar to what we said before. Answer is, we talk about there's a lot of people around. Not a lot of people around. Iko, the Amri, some say, talk about a case they have chazaka, the loy ne'ader, then you don't give it back. Like Rabbi said, you have to have all three conditions to give it back. Some say, I've got the loy even though there's no chazaka loy ne'ader, I don't give it back. Why? In other words, he holds, according to Zero, whenever you have many people, you don't give it back. Even if you don't have chazaka, you have two people with the same name. Says the more now, meaning the discussion, Rabbi brought him a question from a Mishnah to a Mishnah. Our Mishnah was Metzia, and the Mishnah didn't get it. So why did he do that? I want to bring a question from the Mishnah. Rabbi Zero brought a question from a Braiso. My time of law, why didn't he bring the question from our Mishnah? Did our Mishnah say that you give it back even after a long time? Maybe it means give it back only immediately like the Mishnah Gittin, right? What was the question? Mishnah Gittin says if you found it right away, you give it back. If not, steer in our Mishnah that says you always give it back. Our Mishnah never says always. All the Mishnah says was give it back. Maybe it means only if you found it right away. Now, what about the Braiso? The Braiso says, so the way the first say, the reason why the Braiso is different, the Braiso should be more specific. Right? But as Rashi points out, Rashi lo yilum kidei karmel k'yin tzalealtin. V'in la pasul shameinu shalzeh. And what about the brayso? About brayso likely shnuyach. I can't answer that on the brayso. Even the brayso just says matzah get isho mashuk. If the husband agrees, give it to him. The tani be'ed the yatzel isha says give it back. How would the food have been allowed to be allowed in zman ruba? You should be more clear if it's right away or not right away. The loidapilam is not so to our mishnah. The yid also le'aksi tano. By us it says don't give it back. In other words, our Mishnah didn't say give it back. Our Mishnah says don't give it back because the husband maybe didn't write it. But if he did say give it back, so then you give it back. You could say, yeah, give it back. I didn't go to specifics when you said because I wasn't speaking about the positive case. I'm speaking about the negative case. But the Brisa is speaking about a positive case. So then you have to go into details. Says the Gemara, Lamando Omar that we just said, Labzei Mokusha Yoris Mitsuris, talk about a case that there's many people around. Even though there's not two people of the same name, even though we don't know that, Upliga de Rabba, he argues the Rabbo, the Micah is like, what's Machlekes? Says the more Rabba Soba the Ktani Kol Ma'aseh Beis Din Arei Yaksir, when it says you give back by Beis Din, the Ishtakar the Beis Din Askina. It means you give back by Beis Din. In Shtar is the Beis Din or Mekayim, as the Gemara said earlier, we had two discussions what it means. We're talking about things that Beis Din wrote, you give it back, even in Beis Din. Ubeis Din Mokush Asher is Mitzuris, and we do, and Beis Din Mokush Asher is a place where a lot of people pass by, because people go to Beis Din. There, that's what we're saying. In that case, if you have Chazak, the two years with Shimon, so then you don't give it back. But if not, you do give it back. That's why it says, Kol Ma'aseh Beis Din Yaks. Say, Omar Chol Miktani Kol Ma'aseh Beis Din Shintu Beis Din. Doesn't say it was found in Beis Din. Kol Ma'aseh Beis Din Yaks Miktani just said that anything that is Ma'aseh Beis Din, Beis Din did it, you give it back, you assume that it's fine, that it wasn't paid off. Really talk about that was found outside, not necessarily inside. Inside, in other words, in a place with Shars Mitzuyos, you never gave it back. Never give it back. Okay, says the Gemara now, Rav Yirmiyah. Rav Yirmiyah comes and says, what we're talking about, okay, we're going back to the question. We have a stira. Do you give it back? You don't give it back. Right? One place that you give it back, one say you don't give it back. They didn't say, we never signed more than one shtar. You asked the You're a choshen, maybe there's two people with the same name. If there's two people with the same name, you have a shtar, and the one name maybe belongs to the other one. So, well, yeah, but here the 18 were saying, they're testifying, I never signed another get. So clearly it belongs to him. Says the Gemara, Yachi Ma'ilin, what's the Chiddush? How the table deal me stravi shmo kishmo veidim keidim? Maybe turned out to be that there's two people with the same name, and there's 480, the two of them have the same name. So it says Yeshiva and Shimon divorces his wife Leah, and he's signing the bottom Reuven ben Yaakov and Shimon ben Yaakov, saying maybe it was another Reuven ben Yaakov, Shimon ben Yaakov that signed. Says in more, that's a chiddush, not choshish for such a thing. Rashi, another example, when you give it back, you're going to call my nekev yesh v'tzadus ploinis. He says there is a hole in the get next to a specific letter. He gave a simon, so you know it's his. Dafka v'tzadus ploinis, dafka next to a specific letter. Avla nekev be'alma loy, regular hole no. Why? A nekev be'alma is not considered to be a simon muhuk. It's only a regular simon. Rashi b'sapka simonim yideraiso yiderabon. Rashi wasn't sure if simonim yideraiso yiderabon. Rashi explains what we're going to learn this very soon. Next parak, Metzia, we're going to start talking about simonim. President law something, you give it back with simonim. The fact that you give it back with simonim, is that din derais or din derabbanan? Meaning, that the Torah said that you could rely on simonim, or mean that Torah you need to have eidim. But Rabbanan said simonim work. That is only b'simin shein yamuvuk, simon which is not so, not clear so much, it's not so baruch, this belongs to this guy. Simon muvuk, even if derais works, everybody agrees to that. So because we're Misafik, Rashi says, why Safik? Even if he said Safik or Vade, it's Simonim Lav Deraisa. We don't have to get to Vade. So if you're not 100% sure that Simonim is Deraisa, I can't give you back a get, which is Deraisa, based on Simonim, which are Darabanan. So I have to have Simonim Daraisa, that's why I have to have a Simon Muvak. What's a Simon Muvak? You say there's a hole next to a specific letter. That's a Simon which is said to be Simon Muvak. And then we'll get more into the Inyanim of Simon Muvak, Simon Jeni Muvak, Simon Daraisa Darabanan later in the Masechta. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Chano, he lost to get this radish. If you want to have a simon, if you don't trust the simon, I have to say I can recognize the get with my eye. Says the Gemara, I give it back to him. I said, I don't know him. Did he give back to you because of my simon? It wasn't a simon movement, it was a regular simon. So they all two on the Raisa. The Tius ain't adrenaline because I recognize it. The Davka Tzum Me'abonam. Davka Eitamechachem. That you rely on his recognition. But a regular person, you don't rely on his recognition. So that's why he says, I'm not so sure they all see money is okay, or because the Tius ain't Eitamechachem. So he says here very nice. Tais points out that we do find that we rely on Tius Eino by not Tamechachem. It says when a person goes to Mekadesh Eisho, he should take with him an Amaretz. Tamechachem is Mekadesh Eisho. He should take Amaretz. Amaretz will recognize the woman. He's a Tamechachem. He doesn't look at a woman. He doesn't know what a woman look like. Take Amaretz. He looks at a woman the whole time. He will recognize who is Mekadesh. So you see that Amaretz has a Tfiyas Eino. He says, yeah, for sure there's Amaretz also has a Tfiyas Eino. But I don't trust this Tfiyas Eino. I don't trust when he says that I recognize it. So that's what the Gemara means to say over here, that he has to be a Tamechachem Davka, because that's the only time I trust a Tfiyas Eino, and that's what the Gemara says. Okay, so with this we end this daf.